So I hope all these questions helped you to make an assessment of this year, of hopefully a positive one. But in case the result was negative, good news, we still have 3 months to the end of this super strange 2020. So let's do it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Francesca. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And so we have some new people on board, and now there will be some round of introduction. But first of all, I would like to introduce the Leadership Academy team. And you have just met Francesca from Italy. I'm Olga Lukina from Belarus. We have wonderful Martina from Slovakia. Martina, please show up. Yeah. We have Matthew from Scotland. We have Tina from Russia. And we have Anthony from Malta. Yeah, so now you know the faces, and so you will not be surprised when we start speaking. And so linking to what Francesca just told, I think it's important that we speak in small groups and discuss 3-4 questions just to know each other a little bit better. So there will be several rounds when you will meet in very small groups with 3 or 4 people, and you will discuss the questions that we will introduce. Yeah, and the first question that we will ask you to speak about is, first of all, of course, you tell what's your name, the country you represent, and what new things you have learned during the pandemic. And it will take me a moment to split up you into rooms. Just takes some time. So now you will hopefully appear in the rooms, and in 3 minutes the time will end, and you will come back to this normal room automatically. Here we go.
Excuse me?
Hello, Peter.
Hello, my internet connection is very bad, so I just think I missed out when you divided us into groups.
Yeah, so there should be a kind of invitation to join the group.
Yeah, but just when you did it, my Zoom crashed and then opened again, so
yeah,
my invitation is gone.
I will do my best to move you somewhere. So let me find you first, Peter. Yep. I'm doing it now. Nothing. Peter.
Yes.
So it is written that you received invitation to the room number 5, but you have not entered.
Maybe I can now.
Can you?
Yeah, I guess. See you.
See you. Did it work?
Yeah.
Good.
Login.
So people are coming back. So while people are coming back, anything interesting what you heard?
Yeah, we learned that Nia from Finland learned to make bread.
Wow.
The basic girl who learned that skill during quarantine.
Yes.
This is cool. So we are sharing any highlights.
Okay.
Okay, perfect. So let's give the second try, and let's hope that this will be different groups. So so we suggest you to discuss, like, to tell your name, country, and to tell a little bit what you are doing in YMCA and what projects you lead or what positions you are taking. And again, let me.
Name, country, what you do in YMCA. Okay, easy.
Is it?
See. Okay. Did you meet with different people or the same?
Yeah, no, different
Partly.
people.
Good, good, good. So the plan has worked.
Is it kind of random choice, or you do it manually?
So
Random?
it's a random choice because I can do it manually, but it will take time. I mean, so. All right, so definitely now everyone is back. Yeah, and yeah, then one more question to discuss is about the topic of the social mini project that you are going to implement as part of your homework at the Leadership Academy. Please share very briefly your idea or the problem you are working with, at least. Okay, let's see. Here we go. So different groups again, I hope. Good. People are still talking.
Man kan byta upp.
4, 3, 2, 1. Now all will appear. Yeah, perfect. Yeah, great. Thank you. Thank you for this. Do you have any feedback? Do you have any highlights? Did you hear anything super interesting and you would like to share?
Well, I can share that Adam actually shared an idea of a very ambitious project, and I don't think it's the right time and place to like tell all the details, but I'm really very much impressed by what he's planning.
Yeah, thank you. So we have a person who learned how to make a bread during the pandemic. Any other highlights? Any other? All right. Then I suggest while you're in a good mood and your cameras are on mostly, so we can take the picture. If you do not mind, if you mind, switch your camera off, please. Yeah, and it will appear on the Facebook. And if Jazz and Daria can put the camera on for a while, and Casey, that would be great. Good. So please look at the camera and smile. Thank you. You know, we have a communicational manager, and if I do not provide the picture, I will have problems.
You'll have to spend all your night photoshopping.
Yeah, something like this. So let's go to work. And where is my presentation? Screen sharing starts. So welcome to the Leadership Academy. So plan for today, we have done some warming up, and we will discuss shortly the homework that you have already produced. And then we will go to the theory and we'll speak about the second part of the project design. We will speak about how to formulate the goal, objectives, results, and activities. And so that would logically mean that the second part of your homework will be to continue actually describing your project idea. And for those who were not present last time, I want to remind some rules of our work. So please keep your videos on as much as possible. So it creates a kind of atmosphere that we are present, we can see each other, and this is difficult to work online, and it can save us. Keep your microphones on or off. Actually, if there is like big background, noisy background, we will switch you off. But if you keep your mic off and like in a real conversation want to give short comments, it's very much okay. So, and if you want to say, just let us know. You can raise your hand in the chat, or raise your hand like this, or tell with your voice that you want to say. When you speak, please try to be short and precise. And mind the English language. We are almost all are not native speakers here, so do not hesitate to express your mind. We almost all are making mistakes, and this is totally fine. And native speakers, thank you for being patient with us. And try to be fully present at the sessions. It's quite difficult to work online, and when you are trying to do several things simultaneously, it might be difficult then. So the plan, the overall plan, so this is ideal plan, like session 1, 2, 3, you can see dates, you can see countries, but with every day, every month, every week and every month, we can understand that this plan will be changed because of the COVID, which is not disappearing, unfortunately. And looking at the planned session in January, now we already anticipating that this session might be cancelled. So that would mean that we will update you constantly. Our plan is to run as much offline sessions as possible, even if we run only one session in May or June, it will be already great to us. If not, just we will do online. Anyway, we will do the work and we will complete this project, and according to the rules of the donors, we will have to complete it by June of the next year. So unfortunately, changes will appear in this plan. And on the right, you see the pre-sessions, the 4 pre-sessions this year. We have planned them. So actually to support you in implementing your homework, because you see how much time it takes to think about your projects, to design them, to receive the feedback from the team of Leadership Academy. So actually we are giving you time and support to do it. But real fun will start from January. We'll have longer sessions, offline and online. Let's see. And so now we are coming to the project, and thank you so much for the homework that most of you have done. We know that there are new participants here who haven't completed this part of the homework. It's totally okay. So you will have plenty of time to think about it, to watch the previous session, to ask questions. And I want to introduce actually the topics that you are going to work with, and you can actually get in touch with each other if you see some topics in common. Professional orientation of youth, raising level of competency of young people, burnout awareness and prevention, sustainability and ecological development, drug and alcohol abuse prevention among young people in risk, youth unemployment issues, mental health issues, enhancing youth participation and activism, strengthening network for tackling youth issues, dealing with antisocial behavior of young people, dealing with consequences of digitalization and improving communication skills of young people, and social support for youth in difficult life situations like lack of shelter, no families, being involved in criminal affairs. And we are sure that more themes will appear. Have you found your topic in this list? Is there anyone who does not see the topic? Probably something is missed, or I put it in such a way that you cannot recognize it. Okay, and just if you see some topic which is not yours, but it's very interesting for you to speak, with people and discuss the details. So you can use the chat, and you can type, "Hey guys, who is implementing this or that?" And we will also, there is an Excel spreadsheet in our folder, yes, and you can edit it, and actually we will add the column about the projects that you are implementing, and we will put information there so you can get in touch with each other. And feel free to communicate here using this Google Sheet and also using the Facebook group. This is your space. Some information in the chat. Is anything what we need to read?
Ellen is sharing that it's super interesting, the project for burnout prevention, and it's her personal experience that this is a very important thing to do. So those who are doing this project, you probably can get in touch with Ellen. She probably has something to share. Thank you for your comment very much.
Yeah, brilliant. Thank you. And it's a good example how you can do it. Yeah, how you can continue sharing with each other. So, and now let's speak a little bit about the overview of mistakes. I cannot tell that they are typical, but that mistakes that are quite often happen actually with all people who are creating applications. They're quite common. So with the target group, like the most common mistake that the description of the target group is not precise. We can understand that now it's difficult to give the precise numbers because you haven't put the activities yet, and you will calculate better at later stages. But definitely now at this stage, you can give some social characteristics. And we were speaking about them last time, like where people live, what is their social background, are they in group risk, are they volunteers or not volunteers, and any other characteristics. So talking about the problem description, sometimes the problem is not described as social problem, and it is given as a organizational, internal problem, or absence of some activities. And we encourage you to think projects can be different, and it's quite okay that projects can deal with some internal organizational issues. But we are, the project is called Global Leaders for Local Communities. So we really encourage you to think socially and to take socially relevant problems that that influences life on people in your communities. And sometimes the problems sound, you know, a little bit convenient, not too damaging, very light. And when you ask the question, okay, but what are the consequences of it? And it's almost impossible yet to say, okay, this is a problem, but it's not very risky, it's not very damaging. Talking about the description, you are providing facts and numbers, and thank you for it. But in some cases, there are no links for sources, so it's not possible to check if these facts are real ones or not. So it's good if you provide some links. Most of the descriptions are very clear, but with some applications, we noticed that there are like too many words, and the description is very abstract, and it is very difficult to understand, okay, what is the core, what is the problem? And sometimes the problem actually that lots of information is mixed up, like several problems are taken and described, and it's difficult to understand the focus. And sometimes activities and solutions are already put instead of the problem description. So you see that the list is not big. Yeah, it means that mostly your project descriptions already look well, and we know that you have most of you, I hope, have received the feedback from the Leadership Academy team members. Any feedback so far? Any questions? Then I want to pay your attention at one quite typical mistake, not only for your applications, but generally for project description. And of course, my presentation is frozen. Here it goes. Yeah, you see the scheme, and quite often, like people, especially those who are new in the project management, those who are new in this sphere, they are keen on some particular activities. Okay, we want to create a camp. Okay, we want to run some healthy lifestyle workshop. Especially there are young people quite often, you know, are keen on some unique and interesting forms, and they want to implement them. And it becomes the core of the project. So it becomes a starting point. You understand that you want to have a super cool online digital modern camp, and you have resources for it, and you have team, and you have seen, and you can imagine this idea so greatly. And when you start describing it, you start describing from the activities. And then you think about like the outputs, like how many people will attend your camp, how many workshops will happen there, how many publications on Facebook will be produced. Of course, you are thinking about the outcomes, the results, like what knowledge will people receive, how their behavior will be changed. And then you are coming to the impact level. What we encourage you to do is actually to take this process in a reverse way and really start thinking about with the problem first and the results that you want to achieve. Please do not start your wonderful project with the activities, because when you read it, frankly speaking, when we are reading the project applications, we imagine ourselves as donors, yeah, who are trying to understand what kind of problem you want to achieve, but the activities that you are suggesting is not the key core. For us, the results are the most important. So here, during the Leadership Academy, we provide you the space to train. Yes, so please use this opportunity and try to make the project application in English language as if you're applying to real donors. Please start thinking first from the problem and from the impact and outcomes that you want to create, and then you will understand what kind of activities you need to deliver and what resources you need so to deliver these activities. This is short input from my side about the homework. Do you have any questions? Do you have any remarks, feedback? Then I'm stopping screen sharing. Still there is time for feedback. Okay, thank you. Then I'm giving the floor to Tina, who is actually going to speak about how to set the goal and the objectives. Please do not hesitate to speak and to ask, and if something is not clear, you do not agree with or agree with, let us know.
Yes, thank you very much. I hope it will all work fine. And yes, here's the presentation. Can you see it? Can you see it well?
Yes.
Yes, perfect. Okay. So here we go. You have identified your problems and your target groups. That was your task, just to find what is the weak point, what is the weak side in your communities and in your YMCAs, in your neighborhoods and so on, and who is actually the group in need, who is the group you're going to work with. And next step, we will try to make clear what are goals and objectives of the projects that you're going to deliver. But before, okay, just a moment. Yes, I was looking for some nice quote to motivate and encourage you. And I've looked through hundreds or thousands, I don't know. And this is the one that actually makes me motivated. And it says, when the why is clear, the how is easy. And this is what Olga was sharing just a few minutes ago, that the why is a much more important question than the how. And when we have a clear understanding of the mission of our organization, of the problem we're going to work with, of the target group which is in need, then the how is really an easy question. It's the activity that we're going to deliver, the resources that we need, the steps that we're going to make, and so on. So today we will focus on the why question. And when we're talking about project applications, many different words appear. We can hear people telling us that we should put up the aim of the project and we should set the targets. And it's all based on our mission and vision. And then we were telling you that today we will work with goal and objectives. But sometimes such words as activities and steps appear. And it's very easy to get lost in all these words and terms. And sometimes we think, okay, what is bigger? What is a more global thing? A target or an aim? An objective or a goal? Steps or activities? But we should remind you that these are all just words, and different people and different foundations and different organizations, they use their own vocabulary. They use their own words. It's just very important for us to understand what these words mean. And among all these, people are usually choosing like 2 or 3 words that actually describe their process of project management. And the main idea is that there are usually 3 levels. One is the level of the goal, this overall thing that actually gives us a push that we need to do something. It can be called in different words. Sometimes people call it aim or somehow else, or they can call it overall objective. This is also words that we meet sometimes, but we must understand that the goal, or whatever people call it, is something global, like the global motivational factor that actually makes us move forward. Objectives are smaller parts of this goal, and we will talk more about it. And they can be called aims or targets or whatever, but it's next, like a smaller, a little bit lower level of the things that actually break the goal into some smaller parts. This is some smaller steps we need to achieve to fulfill our goal, to reach our goal. And then activities are actually things that we do. This is not something global, something changing the world around. This is actually the things that we do with our hands and feet, with our heads, our brains. This is what we do: run the training, I don't know, or arrange a meeting, and so on. Build something. This is the activity. And it also can be called in different ways. Sometimes people call it steps or whatever, but we should understand that this is next level. So this is the general idea that whatever words we use, we are talking about 3 levels of planning a project: goal, objectives, activities, or aim, targets, and steps. So this is an important thing. So please don't be confused when you see some other words than the ones that we give you. The words can be whatever, but the general idea is the same. So let's talk about, okay, animation doesn't work, but never mind. Let's talk about the goal. The goal is actually the other side of the problem. If we take the problem, the goal is something that we want to achieve if we manage to solve it, or at least some part of the goal, of the problem. So the bad news is that in most cases, the goal cannot be fully reached. This is something that we, frankly speaking, will never achieve. We will never beat the poverty in the world. We will never set a perfect climate. We will never make everyone happy. But the good news is that it's still worth trying, and we still are going to do something to move forward this goal, to try to reach it, to get just maybe a little bit closer to it. And so now let's have a look at some examples. Yes, I'm sorry, the animation somehow doesn't work when we are doing it through Zoom, but it's not a big problem. So if we say that the problem is poverty in some particular area, in the city, in the community, wherever, just a moment. Can you see it now?
Yes, we can see.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, I see. Okay. So if we say that the problem is poverty, then the goal will be to reduce the poverty. I hope this is quite clear. Like, this is the general problem, what we want to do it. We want to make it smaller. We want to reduce it. If the problem is, for example, low social responsibility of young people in some community, in some place, then the goal would be to raise social responsibility of young people in this place. It seems to be very simple, but it's not always that simple. So let's try to practice a little bit. And I have, but before we come to practice, we wanted to share with you some words that will help you in putting your goals in words. And they may sound as bureaucratic words, like the words that people like to use as mottos and slogans, I don't know, in commercials, in the political fights, but still these are the words that show some positive change that we want to achieve. This is something that may enrich your vocabulary if you are working with goals. And these are the words: develop, raise, enhance, improve, contribute to, enlarge, create, empower, strengthen, equip with, stimulate, boost, reform, encourage, promote, increase, and establish. And are all these words clear? Does everybody understand them all? I can't see the chat right now, so if there's something in the chat, please help me to distinguish it. Is everything?
No, there is nothing.
Okay, so then may I ask any of you to explain the word empower? What does it mean? Can any of you tell what it is?
Well, it's like giving power to someone by supporting them. I mean, power not like the strength and muscles, but to strengthen them by supporting them. I get it like this.
Mariam, thank you very much. And can anybody help me with the word encourage? Great word, I like it very much. Can anybody help us with explaining the meaning?
To make somebody more brave to do something, not to be afraid, to be more confident, to be sure that it's possible.
Encourage, motivate. Thank you very much. I hope most of these words are clear to you, and please use them when you are expressing or putting in words goals of your projects. They will certainly help you. Okay, so let's practice. Now it works. So here is the problem: poor socialization and integration of migrant teenagers of 12, 16 years of age in schools. And of course, if it was a real situation, we would also put a place here. In schools where, in which city, in which area, in which neighborhood. But let's take it as general as it is. So poor socialization and integration of migrant teenagers in schools. How would you put a goal of this project in words? So please just, you may speak or type your answers in the chat.
To encourage the integration of migrant teenagers in schools, or to, promote.
Usually, I think when we usually encourage somebody, like it's a personal thing. So maybe we could use some other word. Anything in the chat? Any other ideas?
Can increase integration of teenagers. we can enhance a relationship between teenagers in the classes in the area.
Anything else?
Yeah, we have a message from Gabriel in the chat. Increase the level of engagement between migrant and local communities.
Thank you. Okay, let's practice a little bit more. Oh, yes. Here's one more problem. High level of depression and other mental health problems among university students. And once again, if it was a real situation, we would put which university and which city and which country and so on. But let's take it as general as it is. So high level of depression and mental health problems among university students. What would be the goal of this project? What could be the goal of the project?
To empower university students during their depression and other mental problems.
Okay. Any other ideas?
Promote their social adaptation.
Promote to whom?
Of those who are under the depression.
You see, this is a more tricky case because we can look at this problem from different sides, depending on which part of the problem we actually want to address.
Can I increase awareness, first of all? And secondly, I think we can encourage universities to create like special programs for those kind of students. Like,
yeah, depending on what actually we want to focus on. Increase awareness. Yes, very good. Anything else?
It could be also increase funding and also access to like mental health, I don't know, not clinics, but programs and therapy and things like that. Increasing access and also funding, because that's usually a big problem.
Yeah, so we are actually here, we are addressing not that we cannot decrease like the level of depression, but we can make it easier for people with depression to get some needed resources.
Yeah, Gabriel writes in the chat, develop a holistic program of non-formal education, including counseling, recreational activities, etc. And Daria writes, improve self-esteem of students.
But I would say that these two brilliant ideas, they sound more like objectives or even activities. We will come later a little bit to it. But yeah, thank you. Anything else? Because create, how was it? Can you say it again, the first one?
Develop a holistic program of non-formal education.
Developing a program is actually one of the activities that we can do. If we address the goal, we can do a lot of things, and one of them could be developing a program that people could participate in. Okay, let's move to the next one. And the problem is high pollution of the coastline in some particular resorts areas of some exact country and place. Pollution of the coastline. What could be the goal of the project?
To decrease the level of pollution of the coastline in resort areas.
Absolutely, absolutely. And how are we going to do that? Are we going to raise awareness of people about the effects of the pollution, or we are going to create some team of volunteers who will deal with this rubbish, or we are going to print some posters that will tell people about how it's bad to pollute the coastline, or whatever it could be? This would be the activities that we do, but certainly the goal would be to decrease the level of pollution. Okay, thank you very much. And let's move forward to the next step, next level. And here we are coming to the objectives. And the goal of the project is usually something overall, and usually there's one goal of the project. Sometimes there may be two goals, but in most cases we have just one overall goal of the project. But when we come to the objectives, objectives can be multiple. We can have, and usually we do have, more than one objective. And objectives are like, as Olga likes to say, they're like pizza. So if we put all objectives together, we will take a goal. So these are not just the steps, these are kind of parts of the goal. So we break one big goal into few objectives, and when we fulfill all the objectives one by one or simultaneously, we actually come to closer to fulfilling our goal. And let's once again look at some examples. And okay, before we come to the examples, I'm sure that most of you have heard about SMART objectives. Have those who have heard about it, this word, SMART objectives, please wave your hands. Have you heard about that? Yes, many of you certainly have. And this is a discussable way of putting things. Some people like to use it, some people don't like to use it, but I think it's just an important part of education, just to know that sometimes we look at the objectives through these glasses of SMART objectives. So let's do it together. SMART is an abbreviature, so these are first letters of 5 words, and sometimes these words are slightly different, but in most cases they have general meaning. And S goes for specific. So when we're putting up an objective, we should be absolutely clear who it applies to and where we're going to do it. And this is something very specific. When M stands for measurable, it means that we must have some tools to actually understand whether our objective has been fulfilled. Did it work or not? How are we going to check it? How we will make sure that we are on the right way? And it means that the objective should be measurable. It should be achievable, and it means that it should be realistic. We need to be sure that we have actually all necessary means, all the resources to do this, to fulfill this objective. Are we capable of doing that? Can we do this? Do we have all the resources to achieve the objective? It should be relevant. What does it mean? Relevant, it means that this is what we really need, that this is part of our pizza, actually. This is not some part of some other pizza. This is part of our pizza, and this is what we really need to reach our goal. And the other thing is whether it fits the priorities of the organization. Is this, for example, it may lead to our goal, but it may not fit the mission and the values of our organization. I will put it very simple. Like, we can reach our goal, it's very easy, but we need to kill this person to do this. Does it fit the values of our organization? Certainly not. We will not do that. This is a very straight and I would say rude example, but that's how this relevance works. Like, is this really something we need to do and we may do? And time bound, this is quite clear, is like when we're going to do this and when it's all going to finish. Like, what are the time limits of implementing this? Yeah,
we have the hand raised by Drenusha and a message in the chat.
Yeah, can you read the message?
Yeah, so the message is from Nikas. Mostly the measurable part is controversial. And Ellen answers, yes, measurable tends to leave out complex developments.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that we will speak a little bit about it.
We will certainly speak more about it. And of course, this whole theme is controversial, but we thought it's important for you at least to know that it exists and to know a little bit more about how it works. And
Drenusha, do you want to speak?
Drenusha? Okay, maybe later when you want to speak, just let us know.
Yeah,
And I just wanted to say that this doesn't mean that this concept doesn't mean that all these parts should be present in your objective, that putting down your objective, putting it in words, you should always say, like, teenagers of this age who will do this and that by that time, and this is within our resources and fits the value of our organization. We do not always put this in words, certainly, but we should keep this in mind. We should know that anyone may ask us these questions. When we've put up the objective, anyone may ask us, like, is it relevant? Are you sure this is achievable? Who are you going to do it with? We should know the answers. We shouldn't put it all in words, but we should certainly know the answers to all these questions. How are we going to say that we're on the right way? Okay, let's move forward. And no, yes. So example would be very, very, very simple. Just the most simple example you can imagine. And let's put lack of youth leaders in the YMCA as a problem we're going to work with. Who of you has ever faced this problem in your YMCAs? Just wave your hands. Anybody has ever met this problem? Yes, of course, we all deal with it from time to time. Lack of youth leaders. So what would be the target group? This would be young volunteers of some age, depending on the profile of your YMCA, that want to become YMCA leaders. What would be the goal? The goal would be to develop youth leadership in the YMCA. This is quite a clear goal, the other side of the problem. We are lacking youth leaders, so we need to develop youth leadership. We need to get more leaders, more qualified leaders. What would be the objectives? The objectives would be multiple. So give young people knowledge about YMCA, its history, mission, and values, because they may not become devoted leaders without having this knowledge. Equip them with necessary tools, so we will train them so that they can do social and youth work. And we will motivate them, empower them to be good YMCA leaders. And then we will provide them support in their activities. So we will not just let them go, we will somehow train them and then help them to do their job well. Is this clear, or do you have any questions to this? So I'm putting this very simple example for you just to understand how it works, just to make all the concept very clear. Sometimes it's much more complicated, but I hope that this very simple example will help you understand it better. So one thing that Olga has been touching already in our today's session, and we want to stress it once again, that objectives and activities are different things. They're not the same. And it's important to understand that activities, these are the means to accomplish the objectives. And if we have our objectives as small parts of our huge goal, then activities, they are the steps that actually lead to this objective. And the steps may be very different. We can come to this chest, as on this picture, from one side and from the other side, and we can take, I don't know, a wooden ladder, or we can build brick stairs, and these still would be activities, and they may be very, very, very different, coming to the same objective. And coming to our previous example, this one, when we have the problem and the target group, the goal and the objectives, what do you think would be the activities of this project? What would we actually do? Please speak loud or use the chat. Speak. So what could be the activities? How do you think?
Activities would be to raise your social platforms, like social networks activities. I mean, to just post more to give young people knowledge about YMCA history and etc. So in this case, the activity would be to just be more active on social media.
And we have we have variants in the chat. Flash mob on Instagram. You need to find the relevant activities that fits the target group and your objective. Create an assembly of young people. We often have these objectives in summer camp. Watch Soul in the Machine, story of George Williams.
You can have a lecture about YMCA history.
A lecture or a seminar on YMCA history,
Flash mob. An open day for the local YMCA building. Invite young members and volunteers to meetings usually reserved for management, senior leaders. Focus groups. Encourage the target group to participate to different activities, promoting them through social medias.
Great, thank you very much. Actually, we have our own variant for that. And I think all the activities that we were thinking of, they're all totally different from the ones that you offered, which is absolutely great. And it just supports the idea that actually same objectives can be reached by very, very different activities. So here's what we have. So if problem is lack of youth leaders, and here's the target group, and the goal is develop youth leadership, and here are our objectives. Activities could be run leadership training, say 3 sessions of leadership training, and arrange regular support meetings, for example, like a youth club once a month to support and empower and motivate these volunteers, and monitor and evaluate results of their work. And of course, everything that you have suggested, this also could continue the list of the activities. It will all fit the objectives. Okay. Let's practice again. So if the goal of our project, which is, as we remember, the other side of the problem, is to improve human rights education in schools, what objectives would you set up? You can speak or put down your variants in the chat. Is there anything in the chat?
No.
Not yet. Okay, it's not an easy task, but we really want you to practice.
Maybe to understand disadvantages of the system that is existing now.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah,
go ahead.
It sounds like investigation. Yeah.
Investigate. That's I was just thinking of the wording: to study, to investigate the human rights history, and
Chat speaks. Promote anti-racism. Organizing classes about the topic since elementary school.
Okay, guys, I have a question. Organizing classes, is it an objective or an activity?
Activity.
Yes, of course. Organizing classes is certainly an activity, but what objective is it working for?
Starting talk with children since like young age about human rights.
Well, you actually, Ulia, we're using a great word, raising awareness. Yeah, this is raising awareness. Absolutely. Talking to children, organizing classes. Yes, this all works as raising awareness, telling people that this exists and how, and the history of the problem and so on.
Yeah, the chat speaks. Increase the awareness of the human rights among teachers. Contact with the education ministry. Is it the last one? Does it sound like objective or activity or a step?
Activity. How can we turn it into an objective? Contact the Ministry of Education. But for example, establishing communication or partnership with Ministry of Education, I think this could be a good objective, and it may have different steps in achieving it, like making some interaction and I don't know, talking to them, having joint events, inviting them to our events. This would be steps in achieving this objective. Okay, let's move forward because we haven't got much time. Next goal, strengthen governance in the YMCA. This is our goal. It's always with us. So strengthening governance in the YMCA, what could be the objective for it?
Make the processes that happen in governance clear and obvious.
Raising awareness once again. Yes, raising like the level of understanding governance processes. Education.
Gabriel writes, increase democracy. For me, it sounds like a goal, frankly speaking.
Yeah, depending on the organization, I think very much. Yeah, but it's really a huge thing.
Increase the access to governance.
Yes, absolutely. And then we can think what steps we can do, what activities we can do to make it governance more accessible for young people, for example. Change the way of or establish nomination committee, change the ways of the elections and so on. So there can be different steps of making the governance accessible, but it's a perfect objective, certainly. Anything else?
Yes, encourage young people to be part of the governance. Make the management system more transparent. Perfect. Give the YMCA members the right skill set to be able to adapt good governance in their local way.
Great. Let's move forward. And there's one more case.
Sorry. And as example of activity, governance training.
Perfect. Okay, one more. Promote healthy lifestyle among seniors. Okay, one or two examples of the objectives.
Making gyms more like friendly, open, accessible.
Yeah, making all this healthy life infrastructure accessible for seniors.
Explain
we can do it.
Health is valuable for a person.
So make some promotion of healthy lifestyle. Okay, good. Thank you very much.
Tina, yeah, one more. Informing people about the risks of an unhealthy life and talk about the importance of sports.
Well, to me, it also sounds like more like an activity, but okay. I think the general idea is clear. And guys, you know, it's hard work to put these all things in words, and it needs a lot of practice to be precise and to make it so that everyone understands what you really want to say. But I'm sure that each of you, if you practice much, you will certainly be perfect in that. And let's move forward and talking about the activities as the next step of working with our project. We should remember that activities, this is not just anything that we do within this idea, you know, of say developing leadership in the YMCA or working with seniors. The activities that we put in the project, they should be effective. So it means that they should reach maximum with minimum resources. They should be also cost effective. So they shouldn't be extremely costly in terms of what we get as an outcome. They should be relevant adequate, attractive to the target groups. So if we're working, for example, with seniors, we should propose something that they would be eager to do. And same with youth, of course, and any other target group. They should be relevant to time, and they should be modern and attractive to people. They should be corresponding with the mission and values of the organization, and we've talked about that a little bit already. They should be realistic and manageable. They should be balanced and being unique and simple. It's always a huge benefit of our project if we are proposing something unique in terms of methodology. If we are not using someone else's, I don't know, manual or method, if we're offering something that we have invented ourselves, this is always a huge benefit for us. And they should be framed in a timetable. They should be time bounded, same as our SMART objectives. And they should be, which is most important thing, linked with responsible people. Because whatever we plan, if no one is responsible for that, it will never happen. So when you are planning your projects, it doesn't mean that you should be working alone. You may have a team of colleagues and friends and whoever, your YMCA colleagues, but it's very important that each activity that we plan, someone is taking responsibility for that. Otherwise, it will never happen. And we wanted to share with you the goal, objectives and activities for Leadership Academy as the final part of my presentation. And it may sound once again as a little bit bureaucratic, but still I think that it will give you more understanding of what we are doing here. So the goal of the whole training program, of the whole project of Leadership Academy, is promoting civic engagement of young people through enhancing their capacity as leaders for local community. And objectives are promoting social inclusion and peace as a core value of youth work, promoting youth participation, its values and forms, equipping young leaders with necessary knowledge and tools of change makers, promoting international cooperation of leaders of local communities. As you can see, nothing is said here about training sessions, Zoom meetings, writing projects, and so on. So these are smaller part of our bigger goal. And here we come to the activities, and they're also quite simple. It's preparatory session of the planning team, workshop 1, workshop 2, workshop 3, homework, and evaluation. As simple as that. So here my presentation is over. Thank you very much for your attention. And if you have any questions, please, the floor is yours.
Questions or feedback? Any highlights? Something you disagree with?
Something you are stressed with? Okay, and once again, we've been telling it quite a few times, but in any step of your work, if you feel you need to talk to someone, please do not hesitate to contact any of us.
Yeah, thank you, Tina, so much. And I'm giving the floor to Matthew.
Mm-hmm.
Amazing, thank you. So it was 20 past, well, in the UK it's 20 past 5, but I realized that there's a lot of information. So before we go on to the next topic, that should take us to the end of the session. How are people feeling? Are we feeling still energized? Do we need a little break? Are people okay to continue? If you're okay to continue, give me a thumbs up.
Like a 1-2 minute break just to grab some glass of water or something would be really nice.
Yes, that's fine. So let's grab maybe, as you say, 1-2 minutes, and then we'll fire through the next one. Okay.
Yeah, don't leave the meeting. Just switch the camera off if needed. 1 minute.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a good thing because it's a lot of theoretical information.
Mm-hmm. It was good though. Reminded me of my time on Leadership Academy.
So far, we are perfect to the timetable. Like I have the list of the time when Tina and Matthew had to start speaking, and what exactly like the time written.
Yeah, I might fail that, so I will do my best though.
Just leave me 5 minutes to explain the homework.
Okay. So if you're back, let's switch the cameras back on, and then we can keep going. While we're waiting, actually, if I start sharing my screen, am I able to use the breakout rooms?
Please have a look if you have this option. If not, I can give you hosting, so you can do it yourself, or I can do it myself, whatever you prefer.
2 seconds, let me actually just check. I don't have the option, but yeah, if you're able to do the breakout rooms, then that might be easier, even though I'm the one sharing screen. So
yeah, how many?
We'll have 2, but I'll say when we need it.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, thank you. That's pretty useful. So yeah, okay, we will keep going. Yeah, you should all be able to see my screen. We are on expected results. So right at the very beginning, we went through some of the expectations of the Leadership Academy, and we talked about those of native English speakers, that being a native language. I am one of them, which means that I might speak pretty quickly. If I am speaking too quickly, or if things aren't making sense, please just raise your hand, please just shout at me, whatever it is, and I will slow down and make sure everybody understands. Okay, so we're going to look at expected results for the next 15 to 20 minutes before we finish. So we've been through our goal, we've been through our objectives, we've been through our activities, all in amazing, great detail. Thank you, Tina. And now we're coming on to really, well, maybe that's not the best way to put it, but really, why are we doing this? What are we aiming for? What is the end result? What are we expecting? So that's the bit that we're looking at, expected results. Okay, so let's make sure this works. So what do we mean by expected results? So wording that is commonly used is the impact of your projects, the changes that will happen thanks to your projects being implemented. So if we want to eliminate poverty, what is the impact of that? What is the difference that is going to come of that? And then I found this quote on some random websites that I felt fits quite well. Impact is the effect that the activity carried out and its results have on people, systems, organizations, and more. So it is the end result, almost like the why are you doing what you're doing, and what are you actually expecting to come from it? Am I making sense so far? Yes? No? Nice one. Okay, good. I'm working off 2 screens, so you may see me looking up and down fairly often. Okay, so the impact on people and organizations, staff, volunteers, and community. So when you look at the impact of your projects, you can break it down into these 4 groups. What is the difference? What is the impact? What is the expected result on people, on the staff and volunteers involved, on the organization like YMCA, your local or your national, even maybe the international YMCA, and even the community. what is the expected result? How is your project going to make a difference? And what is that difference going to be for these different groups? So when we look at people, for example, we have got the expected result that you can have on people is normally around their attitude. So you're making a change in their attitudes, their beliefs, their level of knowledge, their education, or their behaviors. So I don't know, it's maybe, for example, if your goal is to eliminate poverty in your local community. So let's take, I'm going to, my project is to eliminate, or my goal is to eliminate poverty in Tayside, which is an area of Perth, area of Scotland that I live in. The expected results on people could be that people are educated on the level of on poverty within their local area within Tayside. So they understand that they've maybe changed their beliefs on poverty. They've maybe got a different attitude that they're giving more in order to help each other. It's similar for staff and volunteers. So again, staff and volunteers, their knowledge may change, their beliefs may change, they may be equipped more, so they've got extra tools, they've got equipment, or the right tools, the right equipment in order to deliver the goal. And their confidence level may increase as well. So that's the expected result, that's the difference on those. For organizations, if let's say we take the YMCA, it could have an impact on it financially. So either the YMCA is doing better financially, in some cases may be doing worse financially. There's structural change. Now, I'm not talking about the bricks and the mortar. I'm talking about like how the organization is made up, the leadership, and I guess that ties into the governance. So there's a structural and governance change is the impact on that. The expected result happens there. And again, because within organizations, at the heart of them is people like you and I, there's going to be a change in attitudes as well, or there could be a change in attitudes. And community, you've got it there. Law, policy, maybe an expected result, an impact thanks to your projects. More spaces are created, or maybe less spaces are created, whatever it may be. Different networks and partnerships may come about, and different opportunities may come about thanks to your project. So that's a kind of a headline breakdown of the impact, the expected results, the difference on these different groups of these different areas, these 4 different areas. So moving on then. If you've got any questions, just let me know. I do have the chat up in front of me, but I may miss stuff. So people do help me if I am going too quickly. So hands up, say yes, whatever, if you recognize this picture. Yep, Adam does. Yep, a few people do. Okay, so just for ease, I will explain it. This is, I thought actually when I was developing this, a really good example of a project that ties in with expected results. So people that like Amazon Prime and watch that show that this guy's in, or just watch movies, will recognize that this is a guy called John Krasinski, I think is how you pronounce his surname. And he, as well as I guess his wife and others, in March this year, recognized, like all of us did, that the world was very different. It was filled with negativity. So if you guys remember, January, Australia was on fire. So we thought that's pretty bad. February, we thought that Iran and America were going to cause World War III. So the rest of the world were thinking, wow, that's more bad news. We're pretty scared what's going on here. How can it get any worse? Well, lo and behold, March comes along and coronavirus says hello, and we're all put into lockdown. So there was a lot of negativity that we were just surrounded with. And we were bombarded every single day, every single morning with this negativity. So John Krasinski and his team, I should say, which probably included his wife, decided to create an online space where he would just create a show called Some Good News, SGN. And this was a show that he literally just went on YouTube, recorded a video for, I think it was like 18 to 20 minutes each week, and just simply showed people different positive news that happen around the world. So he was really counteracting all of the negativity that people were seeing through the news, thanks to just how the year had started and how it was going. So during lockdown, this was a project that came about. After recognizing a need, as we have looked at a problem, this project came about and the goal came about there. So the expected results with Some Good News was that there is an online community space for people to connect, learn, and share with one another. People voice that they are less isolated, depressed, and anxious. So these are the things that we hope to see from this project, Some Good News. And the staff and volunteers involved have an increased belief in themselves that they can be change makers for the better. So I don't actually know, because I didn't obviously speak or were involved in Some Good News, but from looking at what's happened in the months that this was running, and tying it into the expected results, these are some of the expected results that I think would have been put on paper if they were doing the same exercise as what we are doing. Does that make sense so far? Yeah, some of the difference. Okay. You'll be impressed at how I managed to tie this in all together. I think I'm fairly proud of this. So anyway, okay, so we're going to look at developing our own expected results, our own impacts. So here's an example of a goal, which we all very, very much know: to equip and empower YMCA Mars to eliminate poverty for all. So teach backwards, equip and empower is probably some of the words that Tina mentioned in her presentation. We're using it in the goal here. So equip and empower YMCA Mars to eliminate poverty for all. So when we break it down into the 4 different groups, what is the expected result or the impact for the alien young people at YMCA Mars? What is the impact for the alien staff and volunteers at YMCA Mars? What is the impact for YMCA Mars as an NGO, which is a non-governmental organization or a charity? And what is the impact or the expected results for the community for this? So this is, what I'm looking for here is a quick kind of 5 minutes, if we can, maybe even 7, depending on how kind Olga's going to be with time with us. 6, okay. I think that's a compromise. We're going to put you guys into 2 groups. And
or 4, you told 4, no?
Oh.
2, okay, yeah,
4,
sorry.
2 is fine, actually, just because it'll be easier to feedback, I think. And what I'm looking for is 1 or 2 expected results based off this goal. So what do you think would be the expected result for the alien young people, the staff and volunteers, for the YMCA itself, and for the community? So I'm going to quickly put the goal in the chat so you guys can see it once we go into our rooms. And then you can discuss in your groups what you think the expected results are going to be. So 2 seconds. And my spelling is so bad. Eliminate poverty with an O. 2 seconds, sorry. There we go. Okay. So that is the goal. And you need to look at it for young people, YMCA Mars, staff, volunteers, and the community. All make sense? Any questions? No? Okay. So by the magic of Zoom breakout rooms, we are going to move into our small groups.
2 groups, and here we go.
Okay, people are coming back, which is good. Okay, 2 seconds. I can't see the chat. Okay, can people hear me? Can they see my screen? Yeah.
We can hear you. We do not see your screen.
Oh, do you not? Okay. Probably because I need to share screen, so that would have helped. There you go. Okay. So you should be able to see my screen just now then.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So I realized very quickly that when we went into the breakout rooms, one group was very lucky because they had me, and one group probably wasn't so lucky because it didn't have the presentation and they didn't have the resources. But ultimately, how did people find that? Did you manage to get some ideas of expected results? And if so, can somebody feedback on, let's say, 1 or 2 for the community, for young people, for Mars, as in YMCA Mars? Any ideas? Any ideas? Radio silence. Okay, I'm not sure if anything's come up in the chat either. But yeah, so some of the ones that we were looking at in our group is actually goes along these lines. So these are some examples that came up and ones that that could apply. So the difference, the impact on these different groups of people. Okay. So very quickly on the young people, increased knowledge on poverty on planet Mars. So it's the education part of it all. So if I go back, you can see knowledge, education for young people, inspired and adequately equipped to implement radical social change. Radical social change is just as it sounds. In order to do something as big as eliminate poverty, you're probably going to need a radical social change. A big change is what that means in a lot of people. For staff and volunteers, they're educated, equipped to support a goal. They're able to confidently deliver sessions on tackling poverty, whether that's delivering sessions to the community or to young people. For YMCA Mars as an organization, attitudes and leadership change to prioritize tackling poverty. The YMCA is financially equipped to support tackling poverty. And one of the good ones that we had in my group was that the reputation of YMCA Mars would change because I've managed to work towards achieving this goal. We'll come on to if that was an expected result or if that was an unexpected result, because remember, achieving our goals is sometimes doesn't happen because it's so vast and it's so broad, but it's still worth trying. So we'll come on to things that may happen even though we don't expect it. Unexpected results for the community, members share knowledge with one another on how to tackle poverty, and local free food hubs are created for those most in need. So these are the things that could happen because of your project, because of your goal. It's as simple as just thinking, what am I actually doing? What is the difference? What do I expect to happen? Make sense so far? Yeah. So when you're thinking about your goals and your projects, we're going to come on to the homework, obviously, after this. This is some of the stuff we'll probably be touching on. Why are you actually doing it? What are you expecting? So on the other hand, there's going to be things that could happen that you may not expect. So remember to monitor, measure, track your project and notice even the unexpected results, both the good ones and the bad ones. So unexpected results are like the effects of your project. So did your project have an impact on others that you didn't expect it to have an impact on? So for some of the more native English speakers, it is the knock-on effect. So this happened and this happened and then this happened, which I actually wasn't expecting, but it happened. It may be good, it may be bad. So for example, thanks to your project, more senior members of the community, senior members being, let's say, 60 plus, 60 years old and over, are now leaving their homes and becoming more socially active citizens. So for example, your project is to deliver a community garden. Young people are going out and they're gardening together, they're having fun, they're doing stuff. Senior members of the community are watching and thinking, actually, I want to do that. And they start getting involved. You didn't expect this to happen, but now you've got young people gardening in the community alongside seniors of the community gardening. It's your gardening project has now also turned into an intergenerational project. You've got young people mixing with old people for social good. So that is an unexpected result. That's actually quite a positive one. It may be on the other hand where actually it gets a whole load of complaints. It was an unexpected result. It was more of a negative one. You didn't expect people to react in that way. Does that make sense? Yeah. So monitor what's happening in your project, what the differences are. Are things happening that you expected them to happen as you've written down, or are things happening that you didn't expect? Either they're good or they're bad. Okay. So please work. Yes. Okay. So tying it back to the SGN example, this is an unexpected result from the project that this guy was doing and that I explained earlier.
And this week, something extraordinary happened. Joy not only echoed across the globe, it echoed its way right out of this world.
Tonight, we're bringing you some good news from ISS. There is so much good news happening in the space world right now. This year, we will be celebrating 20 years of a continuous human presence on board the International Space Station. We've been up here conducting thousands of experiments that help benefit life back on Earth.
To help with isolation, we break up our workday every single day with exercise, eating, looking out the window, and connecting with our friends and family.
What do you guys think? Should we do a backflip?
Uh-oh.
Oh boy.
Not our best showing.
As awesome as it's been to live and work here for so long, it's super good news that Jessica and I will soon return to Earth in just less than a week. And it's going to be great to hug my wife and kids again, though I'm not really looking forward to gravity. All right, one last look at the Earth. This is some good news. The Earth is still beautiful. An Earth in crisis is still an Earth worth returning to.
See you later, SGN.
What just happened? SGN just transmitted from the International Space Station? I'm gonna need a second to catch my breath.
Okay, so that's just a little clip of some good news. And just tying it back to what we've done in the 3 minutes that I've got left. The goal of SGN, or the expected results of SGN, I should say, and the difference that they wanted to make was to link with people in the world that were just getting bombarded with difficult situations. So if I go all the way back, that there's an online community space, people to connect, learn, and share with one another, people voice, and that they are less isolated, that they've got a community here on Earth, they're impacting people here on Earth. But an unexpected result is that they managed to actually get this all the way to outer space, that people were connecting with one another all the way through the International Space Station. So that is something that they didn't plan to do, but it's something that happened thanks to their project. And in this case, it was a really positive result that the astronauts out in space made an impact and contributed. So Nobody in the Leadership Academy is expecting you guys to start connecting with the International Space Station, although if you do, I think there's going to be a special prize. So,
why not? Why not, Matthew? Do not limit the guys.
yeah, I think that would probably be the first, but challenge accepted, hopefully. But you can hopefully understand what we mean by unexpected results as well. And overall, just expected results impact the difference thanks to your project. So, have I got any questions? I know we fired through that very quickly, but we're very aware that we want to finish on time. Anything that people want to question, ask, or want to go through again? Okay.
Thank you, Matthew. Thank you so much. The video was so inspirational.
Thank you. Thank you.
So yeah, and I think it is linked so well to the homework. And you will tomorrow actually you will receive a letter from me where you will read the detailed description what you need to do, but in very short. So very logically, you will continue describing your project's idea. So you have already done. You have put the problem description, you have put the target group, and now logically, we suggest you to formulate the goal, to formulate the objectives, to put the activities and the expected results. And you have just heard the levels of the results which are existing. So, and if you have any questions, you can get in touch with the members of Leadership Academy team. Almost all of you have received some feedback. Yeah, so you can continue communication with this particular person, or you can approach to any of us. Okay, so it's very short information about the homework. Any questions about it? And before you leave, we suggest you to write in the chat very short information how you feel about this session, about these 2 hours. So please answer in 2 sentences what was the most important for you within these 2 hours, and what was the most difficult for you, if there was anything difficult for you. For us, it is important to understand how comprehensive we are, and if there is something that causes difficulties, we better like repeat or put it in a different way. So what was the most important for you today, and what was the most difficult?
Olga, did you mention the deadline for the homework?
Not yet. So that will be 26th of October. Yeah, but I will write about it tomorrow.
Okay. Good, good.
Yeah. Yeah, and while you are writing, we are thanking you for your active participation. This is so great that you are devoting your evening hours for being with us. We appreciate it so much. And if you have any questions about the session or homework, please do not hesitate to contact us.